When people talk about sibling rivalry, they usually mean competition. In my case, it was more like classification. My sister Rachel was the achiever, the firstborn, the honor roll kid, the debate champion, the valedictorian. I was the helper, the goofy little brother who got good at making jokes and building Lego towers with her kids. Rachel is 7 years older than me. By the time I was in high school, she was already married and pregnant. I didn't mind helping. I was in college part-time, doing freelance design work, and when Rachel asked me to watch her twins so she and her husband could have date nights, I said yes every time. I love those kids. Ava and Lily. They're 6 now, and I've known them since the moment they entered the world. I was literally in the waiting room when they were born. My bond with them is something I can't even explain properly. I've watched them grow up, helped with their homework, made them Halloween costumes, and soothed their nightmares. I've been there for every scraped knee and lost tooth. But to Rachel, I was just the babysitter. I don't mean she was cruel. Not exactly. It was more passive, a dismissal. She'd say things like, "Well, you've got all the time in the world, you don't have a real job." Or, "Thank God you're available. I'd never trust a stranger with my kids." I thought that was a compliment. Until one day, we were all at a family BBQ, and I overheard Rachel talking to her friend. "Oh, my brother's basically my nanny," she laughed. "He's not doing anything else, and the girls like him." That stung. It wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. Like I had nothing going on, like my role in their lives was incidental, convenient. Like I didn't matter beyond my usefulness. I didn't say anything that day. But after that, I stopped volunteering. Not entirely. I love the girls too much. But I started saying no sometimes. I worked more, focused on my own clients, my own apartment. I started dating again. Rachel didn't seem to notice. Until a few months ago. Rachel had been having health issues, fatigue, shortness of breath. She thought it was stress. She works full-time and manages the household like a drill sergeant. Her husband, Tyler, tries, but he's the kind of dad who calls it babysitting when he watches his own kids. Then one morning I got a call. It was Tyler, panicked. Rachel had collapsed at work and was rushed to the hospital. "She's stable," he said quickly. "But we need someone to take the girls. Can you come now?" I dropped everything, drove to their house in record time. The girls were already crying, scared, confused. I packed overnight bags, tried to stay calm, and told them, "Mom's okay. She just needs to rest for a little while." That night, Rachel was admitted for tests. Tyler tried to explain, but he didn't really understand it himself. Some kind of autoimmune thing, possibly serious. She needed to stay in for observation. The next day, Tyler tried to bring the girls to see her. They wouldn't go in. Ava clung to my leg and sobbed. Lily refused to walk past the reception desk. They were terrified, and they kept saying the same thing, "Not without Uncle Danny." Tyler was frustrated. He called me and asked if I'd meet them at the hospital. I did. The moment the girls saw me, they calmed down. I carried one on each arm into the room. Rachel was sitting up, pale, hooked to an IV. She smiled when she saw us. "They wouldn't come in without you," she said weakly. I nodded. They were scared, but they're okay now. She watched as I knelt beside the bed, held the girls' hands, and gently helped them sit on the edge next to her. And in that moment, something changed in her face. Like she was seeing me for the first time, really seeing me. Not the goofy younger brother, not the convenient babysitter, just me. That was only the beginning. Things got more complicated after that. The girls would barely sleep without me. Tyler was falling apart. And for the first time, Rachel realized just how much she had depended on me. Not just as a helper, but as the emotional glue holding things together. But I'll get to all of that. This is the story of how I went from being just the babysitter to something else entirely. And how sometimes it takes a crisis to reveal the truth about the roles we play in each other's lives. After that hospital visit, I thought things would go back to normal. Rachel had been discharged, given a strict rest order, and told to start treatment for an autoimmune condition that was affecting her joints and heart. Not life-threatening, but serious enough to sideline her from her usual nonstop routine. But what didn't go back to normal was how her daughters acted, especially when I wasn't around. The night after Rachel came home, Tyler tried to tuck the girls in. They cried. He told them Mommy was okay, that she just needed rest, but they kept saying they wanted me. So, he called. At 9:45 p.m. "I know it's late," he said, sounding embarrassed. "But they won't stop crying. Can you talk to them?" I got on speaker and calmed them down, told them I'd see them soon, that Mommy needed sleep and they needed to be brave. I thought that would be it, but it kept happening. The girls refused to sleep unless they knew I'd be seeing them soon. They didn't want bedtime stories unless they were the silly made-up ones I always told. They started calling me their safe person. At first, I thought it was just the stress of the hospital. Kids get shaken up. But it became a pattern. Every scrape, every tantrum, every emotional moment, they reached for me. Rachel noticed. At first, I thought she might resent it. She didn't. She looked tired, humbled even. One night, a week after she'd come home, she asked if I could stay for dinner. The girls were thrilled, obviously. After we got them to bed, she asked me to sit with her in the living room. She didn't say anything for a full minute. Then she spoke quietly. "I think I've been unfair to you." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "I've been calling you just the babysitter. I never said it to your face, but I know you heard it. I treated you like some convenience. Like you had nothing better to do." I didn't say anything. She continued. "But Danny, the girls see you as more than a babysitter. You're their constant, their comfort zone. You've been there more consistently than most people in their lives, including me, and I never really gave you credit for that. I'll be honest, it hit me harder than I expected. That acknowledgement. I'd spent years brushing it off, laughing through the little digs, telling myself it didn't matter what labels she used as long as I got to be in the girls' lives. But it did matter. Rachel cleared her throat. "I know I can be controlling and judgmental. I always thought I was the one doing everything right. But now, I realize I couldn't have done half of it without you. It wasn't a grand apology, but it was honest, raw, real. The next few weeks I became a bigger part of the household. Not out of obligation, but because I was needed. And this time, acknowledged for it. Tyler even started trying harder, asking for advice on how I kept the girls calm, how I got them to listen. I helped him see them not just as tasks, but as little people, sensitive, smart, funny kids who needed gentleness, not orders. One afternoon, Rachel and I sat outside while the girls played. She turned to me suddenly and asked, "Have you ever thought about teaching?" I laughed. "You mean professionally?" "You have a gift with kids. I don't just mean mine." I shrugged. "I like kids. Always have. But I think what I really want to do is something creative, maybe children's books. Something that lets me connect with them on their level." She smiled. "That sounds perfect for you." There it was again. The shift. She wasn't just seeing me as the babysitter anymore. She saw me as a person, an adult, someone with dreams, with impact. I didn't need Rachel's validation to know my worth. But hearing it from her? It healed something I didn't realize had been hurting for years. And the biggest test came sooner than I expected. Because one night, Rachel had a flare-up. Her body went into inflammation mode, and she had to be rushed back to the hospital. This time it was more serious. Tyler was panicking. He called me from the ambulance. "She asked for you," he said breathlessly. "She told me, make sure you stay with the girls. She doesn't want them to be scared again." So I did, and what happened that night changed everything, especially Rachel's understanding of what I meant to her kids. I didn't sleep that night. Rachel was rushed to the ER, and I was at her house, sitting on the floor of the girls' bedroom, each of them curled up under an arm like I was a human safety blanket. Every time one stirred, they whispered, Is "Mommy okay?" And I'd whisper back, "She's being looked after. I promise." They eventually drifted off, but I didn't. I just sat there thinking, not about how unfair it had all been, or how Rachel used to treat me. No, those thoughts were gone. I was thinking about them, the girls, how tightly they clung to me, how natural it felt to protect them, and how this role, this life, had crept up on me and become everything I cared about. At around 4 a.m., Tyler called. "She's stable," he said, exhaling hard. "They're keeping her for a few days. They had to bring her fever down and monitor her heart rate, but she's okay." I closed my eyes in relief. "Do the girls need to come in the morning?" There was a pause. "Actually, she asked me not to bring them yet. She wants them to stay home, safe. She said, 'Let them be with Danny. They'll be okay if he's there.'" That hit me like a freight train. The next few days, I stepped into a full parental role. Meals, school drop-offs, bedtime, all of it. I didn't need instructions. I knew their routines better than anyone. Their favorite snacks, which stuffed animal had to sleep on which side of the pillow, how Mia didn't like her toast to be too brown, and how Lily got nervous before math tests and needed a pep talk. Tyler tried to help, but honestly, he looked more exhausted than I felt. The man meant well, but Rachel had always run the house, and it was showing. I didn't rub it in. I just did what I've always done. Quietly stepped in where I was needed. 3 days later, Rachel was discharged. I picked her up from the hospital. She looked pale, but stronger. We didn't say much in the car until we pulled into her driveway. Before getting out, she looked at me and said, "I don't think I've ever trusted anyone with my kids the way I trust you." I nodded. "I know. You didn't just watch them. You raised them with me. I just didn't see it until now." Her voice cracked a little. "I'm sorry it took this long." Later that night, after the girls had gone to bed, she asked me to stay and talk. Tyler joined us, and to my surprise, it felt like family. A real one. One where I belonged, not one where I was barely tolerated. Rachel looked at me across the table. "I know you've put your own life on hold in a lot of ways. You didn't finish school when you wanted. You never moved out. You don't have your own family yet. But you've built one here, whether you meant to or not." I stayed quiet. She leaned forward. "So, I wanted to ask you something. Not as your sister, but as the mother of those girls." "What is it?" "Would you be willing to co-sign on guardianship? Just in case anything ever happens to us. I know it's a lot to ask, but..." "Yes," she blinked. "You don't need time to think?" "I've already been doing it. I might as well have it in writing." She smiled, teared up a little. That night, for the first time ever, she hugged me without it being awkward or obligatory. The weeks after Rachel's hospitalization were different. Not drastically. The house still had toy clutter, homework chaos, and spilled cereal. But the atmosphere shifted. There was acknowledgement, appreciation, and not just from Rachel. Tyler started involving me in conversations about the girls' schooling. He even asked me to join a parent-teacher meeting, something unthinkable just a month prior. One morning, Rachel called me into the kitchen while I was packing school lunches. "I've been thinking," she said. "You've given up a lot to help us. I don't want that anymore." I raised an eyebrow. "You're kicking me out?" She laughed. "No, I'm offering you the upstairs room, your own space, your own lock, your own life, here, but not under us. You deserve privacy, independence." It wasn't a mansion or anything, but it felt like I was being seen for the first time. Not a babysitter, not a freeloader. A person with dignity, a part of the structure. That wasn't the only shift. Rachel started telling people, out loud, how much she relied on me. At family gatherings, she made space for me to speak, defended me when Aunt Liz made one of her "when are you getting your act together?" comments, and one Saturday, the girls' school had a hero day. Kids were supposed to draw someone who made a difference in their life. Mia drew me, a big stick figure version of me with messy hair and an apron, surrounded by two smiling girls and a tired mom in a hospital bed. The title said, "My Uncle Danny." "Saved us," Rachel framed it. At one point I asked her, "Why the sudden change? Why now?" She looked at me, honestly. "Because I realized you weren't just watching them when I needed you. You were showing up, again and again, when no one else did, including me. You didn't stop being a brother when I stopped acting like a sister." That hit me hard. She added, "You gave them safety. You gave me rest. You gave this family something none of us even knew we were missing. We weren't suddenly a perfect family." We still argued over chores, school pickups, and how loud Lily played her iPad. But I wasn't invisible anymore, and I wasn't just a babysitter. I was the man they called when everything fell apart, and the one they trusted when it came time to rebuild.